begin this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. For in these principles lies the key to your freedom, your peace, and your ultimate power. Principle 1, the power of consciousness. The first and most fundamental principle we must grasp is that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you perceive, everything you experience, every circumstance in your life is but an outpicturing of your consciousness. The world you see is a mirror reflecting back to you your own mental states, your own assumptions about reality. Many of you may find this concept challenging to accept at first. You may argue, but Neville, I see a solid world around me. I feel it, I interact with it. Surely this is reality. To this I say, what you perceive as solid and real is nothing more than a shadow cast by the light of your conscience. Consider for a moment your dreams. When you're in a dream, does it not feel real? Do you not interact with people, touch objects, experience emotions? Yet when you awaken, you realize it was all a creation of your mind. I tell you now, what you call your waking life is no different. It is a dream, a grand collective dream, but a dream nonetheless. Once you truly grasp this principle, once you internalize it and live from it, you will understand that nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. For you are not a powerless observer of reality, but the very creator of it. This understanding is the foundation upon which all else is built. It is the bedrock of your invincibility, the source of your power. For if consciousness is the only reality, and you are the master of your consciousness, then you are the master of your reality. But how do we wield this power? How do we shape our consciousness to create the reality we desire? This leads us seamlessly into our second principle. Principle 2, the law of assumption. The law of assumption states that if you assume a state to be true and persist in that assumption, it must harden into fact. This law is the cornerstone of creation, the very mechanism by which you shape your reality. When you assume a state, you are essentially declaring to the universe, this is who I am. This is what is true for me. And the universe, being nothing more than an outpicturing of your consciousness, has no choice but to conform to your assumption. But remember, my dear friends, this law works both ways. If you persistently assume limitation, lack, or fear, these two will harden into fact. This is why so many people find themselves trapped in cycles of negativity and misfortune. They are unwittingly assuming these states into existence. The key then is to consciously choose your assumptions. Assume states of abundance, of joy, of success, of love. Persist in these assumptions regardless of any seeming contradictions in your external reality. For remember, the external is but a shadow of your past assumptions. As you change your assumptions, the shadow must change to match the new shape of your consciousness. This principle of assumption is your shield against the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. For how can external circumstances affect you when you know that you are the very author of those circumstances? But assumption alone is not enough. To truly harness the power of this principle, we must understand the role of feeling, which brings us to our third principle. Principle 3, the importance of feeling. Now, as we delve deeper into these principles, we come to a crucial understanding. It is not enough to merely think about your desired state. You must feel it. You must embody it with every fiber of your being. Feeling is the secret, my dear listeners. It is the bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, between your current reality and your desired reality. When you can genuinely feel the reality of your desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you activate a power beyond your wildest imagination. Think for a moment of a time when you were deeply in love. Recall the feeling, the emotion of it. How did it color your world? How did it affect your perceptions, your actions, your very being? This is the power of feeling. It transforms you from the inside out. In the same way, when you can feel the reality of desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you transform your entire being. You begin to think, act, and perceive in alignment with your desired reality. And as you do so, the external world has no choice but to reflect this new state back to you. This principle of feeling is your armor against the assaults of doubt and fear. For when you are filled with the feeling of your desire fulfilled, how can doubt find a foothold? How can fear take root? They simply cannot penetrate the radiant energy of your assumed state. But how do we generate these feelings? How do we create such vivid, transformative emotions? This brings us to our fourth principle, a principle that unlocks the full creative power of your mind. Principle 4, the power of imagination. As we progress in our understanding, we come to the fourth principle, the power of imagination. My dear friends, your imagination is not some idle fantasy factory. It is the very workshop of creation. It is the place where all things, all experiences, all states of being are first conceived before they are brought forth into physical reality. Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world, and all there ever will be to know and understand. Your imagination is the gateway to infinite possibilities. It is the realm where you can try on new states of being, where you can explore new realities, where you can shape your world according to your deepest desires. When you imagine, you are not merely daydreaming. You are engaging in the most profound act of creation. For remember, consciousness is the only reality, and your imagination is the tool by which you shape your consciousness. Imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions associated with your wish fulfilled. Do this vividly, do this often, and do this with the firm conviction that what you are imagining is not some far-off possibility, but a present reality. This principle of imagination is your sword against the limitations of your current circumstances. For how can your current reality constrain you when you can, at any moment, step into a new reality in your imagination? But what of the past? What of the memories and experiences that seem to contradict our desired state? This brings us to our fifth principle, a principle that grants you power over time itself. Principle 5, the art of revision. Now we come to a principle that many find particularly powerful, the art of revision. This principle teaches us that we can go back into our past and change it. Not in a physical sense, of course, but in our consciousness, which, as we've established, is the only reality. You might ask, but Neville, how can we change the past? Isn't it fixed? To this I say, the past only exists in your memory. And memory is not fixed. It is fluid, constantly being rewritten by your present state of consciousness. When you revise a past event, you are not denying that it happened. Rather, you are choosing to remember it differently. You are rewriting the story in a way that serves your present and future. For example, if you had an argument with a loved one, instead of replaying the argument over and over in your mind, reinforcing the negative emotions associated with it, you can revise it. Imagine the conversation going differently. See yourself and the other person coming to a loving understanding. Feel the warmth and connection between you. As you do this, you are not merely engaging in wishful thinking. You are actually reshaping your consciousness. And as your consciousness changes, your present reality must change to reflect it. This principle of revision is your time machine. It allows you to go back and plant seeds of positivity in your past, seeds that will bear fruit in your present and future. Or how can past events affect you when you have the power to revise them at will? But as we reshape our past and imagine our future, we must be careful not to fall into the trap of attachment. This brings us to our sixth principle, a principle that teaches us the power of letting go. Principle 6, the law of detachment. As we delve deeper into these principles, we come to one that many find challenging, the law of detachment. This law states that to manifest your desires, you must release your attachment to them. This may seem counterintuitive. You might think, but Neville, if I want something badly, shouldn't I focus on it intensely? The answer, paradoxically, is no. For intense focus often comes from a place of lack, a place of not having. And remember, what you assume, you create. Instead, cultivate a state of detachment. This doesn't mean you don't care about your desires. Rather, it means you trust so completely in the law of assumption, in the power of your consciousness, that you can relax into the knowing that your desire is already yours. Think of it this way. When you order a meal at a restaurant, do you sit there fretting about whether it will come? Do you constantly ask the waiter where your food is? No, you relax. You engage in conversation. You enjoy the ambience. You know your meal is being prepared and will arrive at the perfect time. In the same way, once you have placed your order with the universe through your assumption and feeling, relax. Trust in the process. Know that what you have assumed must come to pass in its own perfect timing. This principle of detachment is your shield against anxiety and impatience. For how can you be anxious about the future when you know with absolute certainty that your desire is already yours? But detachment does not mean inaction. It does not mean we sit back and wait for our desires to manifest. This brings us to our seventh principle, a principle that teaches us the power of consistent action. Principle 7, the power of persistence. Now, my dear listeners, we come to a principle that is crucial for your success, the power of persistence. This principle teaches us that we must persist in our assumption, regardless of any seeming contradictions in our external reality. Remember the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. For 6 days, Joshua and his army marched around the city, blowing their trumpets with no visible result. But on the 7th day, when they gave a mighty shout, the walls came tumbling down. This story beautifully illustrates the principle of persistence. Joshua and his men didn't give up when they saw no immediate results. They persisted in their assumption, in their faith, until their desire manifested. In the same way, you must persist in your assumption of your desired state. Even when your senses deny it, even when the world seems to contradict it, you must hold fast to your assumption. For remember, what you see in the external world is always the result of past assumptions. It tells you where you've been, not where you're going. Persistence doesn't mean struggle or strain. It simply means a calm, unwavering faith in the reality of your assumption. It means choosing again and again to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of any seeming evidence to the contrary. This principle of persistence is your steadfast companion on the journey of manifestation. For how can temporary setbacks discourage you when you know that your persistent assumption must eventually bear fruit? But persistence must be balanced with rest. It must be coupled with a deep sense of peace and completion. This brings us to our 8th principle, a principle that teaches us the power of divine rest. Principle 8, the Sabbath. As we continue our exploration, we come to a principle that is often overlooked but is of utmost importance. The principle of the Sabbath. In this context, the Sabbath is not a specific day of the week, but rather a state of mind, a state of rest and completion. After you have assumed your desire, after you have felt it real, after you have persisted in your assumption, there comes a point where you must rest. This rest is not inaction, but rather a deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing your desire is already yours. In the biblical account of creation, God rested on the 7th day, not because he was tired, but because the work was complete. In the same way, you must come to a point where you can rest in the absolute knowing that your desire is manifested. This state of Sabbath is characterized by a profound sense of gratitude. You are grateful not for what you will receive, but for what you have already received. For in consciousness, in the only reality that truly matters, your desire is already yours. Entering this Sabbath state is crucial for manifestation. It is the final seal on your assumption, the period at the end of your relation to the universe. It is the state from which miracles naturally flow. This principle of the Sabbath is your oasis of peace in the journey of creation. For how can you be disturbed by external circumstances when you rest in the deep knowing that all is well, all is complete? But as we rest in this state of completion, we must also understand the dynamic nature of creation. We must grasp the reciprocal relationship between our inner and outer worlds. This brings us to our 9th principle, a principle that reveals the true nature of cause and effect. Principle 9, the law of reversibility. Now, my dear friends, we come to a principle that may challenge your current understanding of cause and effect, the law of reversibility. This law states that while a physical fact can be the cause of an imagination, it is equally true that an imagination can be the cause of a physical fact. In other words, while it's true that external circumstances can affect your mental state, it's equally true that your mental state can affect external circumstances. And since you have direct control over your mental state, you have indirect but very real control over your circumstances. For example, it's commonly believed that wealth brings a feeling of abundance. And this can certainly be true. But it's equally true that cultivating a feeling of abundance can bring wealth. The same is true for any state or circumstance you desire. This principle of reversibility puts the power back in your hands. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change so that you can feel better, you can feel better now, knowing that this feeling will inevitably lead to improved circumstances. Remember, the external world is but a shadow of your consciousness. Change your consciousness, and the shadow must change. This is not wishful thinking or self-deception. This is working with the fundamental laws of creation. This principle of reversibility is your key to freedom from external conditions. For how can circumstances control you when you know that you can reverse the flow, creating circumstances from your chosen mental state? But to truly harness the power of all these principles, to become truly invincible to external influences, we must understand one final, all-encompassing principle. This brings us to our 10th and most profound principle, the principle that underpins all of creation. Principle 10, the I Am. And now, my dear listeners, we come to the 10th and most profound principle, the I Am. This principle is the foundation upon which all the others rest. It is the ultimate truth of your being. I Am is the name of God. And it is your name too, for you are not separate from God, but an individualized expression of the divine. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. Whatever follows I am in your consciousness becomes your reality. If you say I am weak, you invoke and embody weakness. If you say I am strong, you invoke and embody strength. This is not mere positive thinking. This is aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. Understanding this principle, you realize that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances or internal states. You are the chooser of your state. At any moment, you can declare I am and follow it with whatever state you wish to embody. This principle of I am is the ultimate shield against all that would affect you. For how can anything disturb you when you know that you are one with the creative power of the universe? My dear friends, as we conclude our exploration of these 10 principles, I want you to realize the immense power that lies within you. These principles are not mere theories or philosophical concepts. They are practical tools for living, keys to unlocking the infinite potential that resides within you. When you truly grasp these principles, when you live from them consistently, you become unshakable. Nothing can affect you because you know that you are the affecting power in your world. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you fully embodied these principles. Imagine moving through your days with the unshakable knowing that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Imagine facing challenges not with fear or anxiety, but with the calm certainty that you have the power to overcome them, to transform them, to use them for your growth and evolution. This is not a fantasy, my friends. This is your birthright. This is the truth of who you are. But remember, knowing these principles intellectually is not enough. You must apply them. You must live them. You must become them. Start now. Choose a state you wish to embody. Perhaps it's confidence, or abundance, or love. Assume that state. Feel it. Live from it. Persist in it. Revise your past to align with it. Detach from the outcome, knowing it's already yours. Enter the Sabbath, grateful completion. Understand that your assumption of this state is creating your reality, and declare with all the power of your being, I am, followed by your chosen state. As you do this, you will begin to see changes in your world. At first, they may be small. A shift in how people respond to you, a fortunate coincidence, an unexpected opportunity. But as you persist, as you deepen your understanding and application of these principles, the changes will become more profound. Your entire life will begin to reshape itself to match your new state of consciousness. And through it all, you will remain unaffected by the storms of life. For you will know with unshakable certainty that you are the weather maker. You are the creator of your reality. My dear friends, this is the promise of these 10 principles. This is the power that lies within you. Embrace it, live it, become it, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. But let us delve even deeper into the practical application of these principles, for it is in their consistent application that true mastery is achieved. Consider your daily life. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, you are constantly declaring your state of being. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction is a declaration of who you are. Are you declaring states of limitation and fear, or states of abundance and power? Begin to consciously choose your declarations. When you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately thinking about the challenges of the day ahead, declare, I am blessed. I am abundant. I am powerful. Feel the truth of these statements. Let them permeate your being. As you go about your day, be vigilant of your mental states. When you encounter a challenging situation, instead of reacting with anxiety or frustration, pause. Remember, this situation is but an outpicturing of your past assumptions. Then, consciously choose a new assumption. Declare, I am capable of handling this with ease and grace. Practice the art of revision throughout your day. If you have an unpleasant interaction with someone, don't let it linger in your consciousness. As soon as possible, close your eyes and revise the scene. See it playing out harmoniously. Feel the emotions of a pleasant, fulfilling interaction. This is not denial, this is conscious creation. Use your imagination constantly. Before important events or meetings, take a few moments to imagine them unfolding perfectly. See yourself speaking with confidence, being received warmly, achieving your desired outcomes. Feel the satisfaction and joy of these successful scenarios. Cultivate the state of the Sabbath. At the end of each day, before you sleep, enter a state of deep gratitude and completion. Regardless of what transpired during the day, choose to rest in the knowing that all is well. All is unfolding perfectly for your highest good. Practice detachment by focusing on the joy of the journey rather than the attainment of specific outcomes. Find pleasure in the process of growth and transformation. Trust that as you align yourself with these principles, your external reality must conform to your new state of consciousness. Remember the law of reversibility. If you find yourself in undesirable circumstances, instead of waiting for them to change so you can feel better, choose to feel better now. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, knowing that this feeling will inevitably bring about the circumstances you desire. And above all, be constant in your awareness of the I Am. Let every thought, every word, every action be a conscious expression of your divine nature. For in this constant awareness lies true invincibility. My dear friends, as you integrate these principles into your daily life, you will find yourself becoming more and more impervious to external influences. You will no longer be swayed by the opinions of others, by temporary setbacks, or by apparent obstacles. For you will know with every fiber of your being that you are the creator of your reality. But this journey of mastery is not just for your own benefit. As you embody these principles, as you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you become a beacon of light in the world. You inspire others by your example. You show them what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. For remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you transform your own consciousness, you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Every assumption of a higher state, every act of revision, every moment of self-rest ripples out into the collective consciousness, elevating all of humanity. This is the true power of these principles. They not only free you from the influence of external circumstances, but they also empower you to become a force for positive change in the world. Imagine a world where more and more people understand and apply these principles. Imagine a collective consciousness rooted in abundance, love, and endless possibility. This is the world you are helping to create as you master these principles in your own life. So I urge you, my dear friends, to take these principles to heart. Study them, apply them, live them, or in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Go forth now, armed with this knowledge, empowered by this understanding. Be the conscious creator you were born to be. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you embody these principles, as you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you uplift all of humanity. You become a beacon of light, showing others what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. In closing, I want to remind you of a profound truth. You are not merely a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And armed with these 10 principles, you can make that human experience as glorious, as joyful, as abundant as you choose. Be bold in your assumptions. Be daring in your imagination. Be unwavering in your persistence. For you are the operant power in your world. You are the author of your life story. Nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. Go now and create the life you've always dreamed of. For you are the architects of your own destiny, the creators of your own reality. Nothing can affect you when you live from these principles. For you are one with the creative power of the universe. And as you go forth, remember that this journey of mastery is ongoing. Each day presents new opportunities to deepen your understanding, to refine your application of these principles. Embrace these opportunities. Welcome the challenges that arise, for they are but invitations to prove the power of your consciousness. Let every experience, whether perceived as positive or negative, be a testament to your creative power. For in truth, there are no positive or negative experiences. There are only opportunities for growth, for deepening your understanding, for strengthening your faith in the power of your consciousness. As you continue on this path, you will find that your life becomes a living demonstration of these principles. You will become living proof of the transformative power of consciousness. And in doing so, you will inspire countless others to embark on their own journey of self-discovery and empowerment. My dear friends, the power to create the life you desire, the power to remain unaffected by external circumstances lies within you. It always has, and it always will. These 10 principles are simply keys to unlocking that power, to bringing it into your conscious awareness so that you may wield it deliberately and effectively. So go forth with confidence, with joy, with the unshakable knowing that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Let nothing disturb your peace. Let nothing shake your faith. For you are one with the creative power of the universe, and in that oneness lies your invincibility. Thank you. And may your imagination be filled with wonders beyond measure. May your consciousness expand to embrace the infinite possibilities that lie before you. And may you always remember the truth of who you are, the operant power, the divine creator, the I Am. Now let me share with you a truth so profound, yet so simple, that most will miss it entirely. Your dreams, those desires that burn within your heart, are not distant stars to be reached in some far-off future. They are present now, living and breathing in your consciousness, closer than your own heartbeat. You see, while the world teaches you to see your desires as something to be achieved through time and space, I tell you with absolute certainty that your desires exist now, though in consciousness. The very fact that you can imagine them proves their existence in the only place that truly matters, your consciousness. Consider this eternal principle. Everything that exists in your world first existed in your consciousness. The chair you sit on, the clothes you wear, the very device through which you receive these words. All were first imagined before they became what you call reality. Your desires follow the same divine law. Most people live their entire lives believing that their dreams are far away, separated from them by time, circumstances, or what they call reality. But I tell you this, such separation exists only in their consciousness. The moment you truly understand this, your entire world will transform. Now, let me share something that few will understand, but you will recognize as truth. The feeling of distance between you and your desires is not a physical distance, but a gap in consciousness. When you feel far from your dreams, it is only because you are occupying a state of consciousness that creates the delusion of distance. You see, while others spend their lives waiting for their dreams to manifest, you are being awakened to the truth that your dreams are not coming, they are already here, existing now in consciousness. Your task is not to achieve them, but to accept their present reality in consciousness. The very fact that you can desire something is proof of its existence. For how could you desire something that does not exist? The desire itself is God's promise of its fulfillment, already completed in consciousness. Now let me reveal to you why most people never realize how close they truly are to their desires. They have been trained since birth to trust their physical senses above all else, to believe that what they can see and touch is more real than what exists in consciousness. This is the grand illusion that keeps them bound. You see, while the masses continue to look for the good in the outer world, measuring the distance to their dreams in physical terms, you are being awakened to the truth that all distance is in consciousness. The only separation between you and your desire is the belief in separation itself. Consider this in this very moment as you absorb these words. Your desires exist in their complete and perfect form within your consciousness. They are not becoming, they are. The only reason they appear distant is because you are viewing them through the lens of time and space. I tell you with absolute certainty, your dreams are not waiting to become real. They are already real in consciousness. The oak tree does not wait to become an oak tree. It exists fully formed within the acorn. Similarly, your desires exist fully formed within your consciousness. Now let us understand something that the rational mind might reject, but your deeper self knows to be true. The feeling that you are far from your dreams is itself a dream, a state of consciousness you have accepted as reality. But just as you can wake from a night dream, you can wake from this dream of separation. Most will continue to measure progress toward their dreams by external standards, never realizing that external reality is merely consciousness pushed out. But you have been drawn to these words by divine law, are ready to understand that the external is simply a shadow of consciousness. You see, while others struggle and strive, trying to bridge what they perceive as a gap between themselves and their desires, you are being awakened to the truth that there is no gap to bridge. The only distance that exists is the distance you create in consciousness. Now let me share with you something so fundamental that it will completely transform your understanding of manifestation. The very feeling that your dreams are distant is the exact feeling that keeps them appearing distant in your world of effects. This is the law operating with mathematical precision. You see, while countless individuals waste precious energy trying to reach what they believe is far away, you are being awakened to the revolutionary truth that nothing is far away in consciousness. In consciousness, where all creation takes place, everything exists in the eternal now. Consider this profound truth, the dream you hold so dear, that seems to elude your grasp, is as present and real as the breath you're breathing. Its apparent distance is not a physical reality, but a state of consciousness you've accepted as truth. Change the state, and you change the apparent distance. I tell you with unwavering certainty, your desires are not waiting to be fulfilled in some distant future. They are waiting to be recognized as present realities in consciousness. The moment you truly grasp this, the illusion of distance dissolves like morning mist before the rising sun. Now let us delve deeper into why this truth escapes so many. The human mind, conditioned by centuries of time-bound thinking, cannot easily grasp that everything exists simultaneously in consciousness. They see life as a linear progression, never realizing that all states exist now. Most will continue to believe that they must journey toward their dreams, never understanding that the journey itself is the illusion. But you who have been prepared to receive this message, are ready to step into the awareness that where you want to be already exists in consciousness. You see, while others exhaust themselves trying to bridge imaginary gaps, you are being awakened to the truth that there are no gaps in consciousness. The only separation between you and your desire is the belief in separation itself. The very fact that these words resonate within you is proof that you have evolved beyond the mass hypnosis of distance and time. You are ready to assume your place as a conscious operator of the law, knowing that what you seek is already yours in consciousness. Now, let me reveal something so profound about the nature of your desires that it will forever change how you perceive your relationship to them. The very consciousness that allows you to conceive of your dream is the same consciousness in which that dream already exists in its fulfilled state. You see, while the world teaches you to chase after your desires as though they were butterflies to be caught, you are being awakened to the truth that your desires are not something to be pursued, but something to be assumed. They exist now, as present as your own being. Consider this eternal principle. Everything you could ever desire already exists in consciousness in its completed state. The feeling of moving toward it is the very illusion that keeps it seemingly at a distance. This is why so few ever realize how close they truly are to their dreams. I tell you with absolute authority, your desire is not separated from you by space or time. It is separated from you only by your failure to occupy the state of consciousness where it already exists as fact. This is the mystery that has been hidden from the ages. Now let us understand something that your rational mind might resist, but your soul will recognize as truth. The space between where you are and where you want to be exists only in your imagination. And since imagination is reality, you can collapse that space in an instant by assuming the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Most will continue to believe that they must take endless steps to reach their dreams, never realizing that consciousness can leap across apparent distances in a single bound. But you who have been drawn to these words by divine law, are ready to understand that all journeys are journeys in consciousness. You see, while others exhaust themselves with physical effort, you are being awakened to the truth that the only movement required is movement in consciousness. When you change your consciousness, you change everything. The very fact that you can conceive of your desire means it already exists in completion within you. Your task is not to create it, for it is already created. Your task is simply to enter the state where it is naturally yours. You see, while the world teaches patience and perseverance in pursuing dreams, I tell you that such pursuit only reinforces the illusion of separation. Your dreams are not ahead of you in time. They are parallel to you in consciousness, existing now as completed realities. Consider this divine paradox. The more intensely you strive toward your desire, believing it to be distant, the more you reinforce its apparent distance. Yet the moment you assume it as present fact in consciousness, the illusion of distance dissolves, and what seemed far becomes intimately near. I tell you with complete certainty, the gap you perceive between your current state and your desired state exists nowhere but in your consciousness. Change your consciousness, and you change the apparent gap. This is the law operating with perfect precision. Now, let us understand something that few will grasp, but you will recognize as truth. Your desires are not future events waiting to unfold. They are present realities waiting to be recognized. Just as a radio station exists whether or not you're tuned to it, your desire exists whether or not you're conscious of its presence. Most will continue to project their good into some future time, never realizing that by doing so, they perpetually push it away from their experience. But you who have been prepared to receive this message are ready to understand that time is not a distance to be traveled, but a state to be entered. You see, while others exhaust themselves trying to reach what they believe is far away, you are being awakened to the truth that nothing is far away in consciousness. In consciousness, where all creation takes place, everything exists in the eternal now. The very fact that these words continue to resonate within you is evidence that you have evolved beyond the mass hypnosis of time and distance. You are ready to assume your rightful place as a conscious creator, knowing that what you seek is already yours. You see, while humanity continues to believe in the necessity of effort and struggle to bridge the gap between themselves and their desires, you are being awakened to the truth that there is no gap to bridge. The only gap that exists is the gap in consciousness between accepting and rejecting your good. Consider this eternal truth. In this very moment, as these words penetrate your consciousness, every desire you hold exists in its completed form. Not in some distant future, not in some far-off place, but here and now in the only place that anything can truly exist, consciousness itself. I tell you with absolute conviction, your desires are not waiting to be created. They are waiting to be accepted. Just as a room filled with music exists for both the deaf and the hearing, your fulfilled desire exists whether you are conscious of it or not. Now let us understand something that the rational mind might resist, but your deeper self knows to be true. The feeling of distance from your desire is itself a dream from which you must awaken. You have been dreaming of distance when there is only presence. Most will continue to believe that manifestation requires time, effort, struggle, never realizing that these very beliefs create the experience of time, effort, struggle. But you who have been drawn to this message by divine law, are ready to understand that manifestation is simply consciousness expressed. You see, while others spend their lives trying to get somewhere, you are being awakened to the truth that there is nowhere to get to. Your desired state already exists, complete and perfect, waiting only for your conscious recognition and acceptance. The very fact that you can imagine your desire is proof of its existence in consciousness. For how could you imagine something that does not exist? The power to imagine is the power to experience, for imagination and reality are one. Now let me share with you why this understanding is so vital to the realization of your desires. The belief that you must become something other than what you are now to experience your desires is the very belief that keeps them appearing distant and unattainable. You see, while the world teaches that you must change external conditions to realize your dreams, you are being awakened to the revolutionary truth that you need only change your consciousness. For consciousness is the only reality, and all else is merely its shadow. Consider this profound principle. In the very moment you truly accept that your desire exists now in consciousness, the whole universe must reorganize itself to make this consciousness visible in your world. This is not a process in time. It is an awakening to what already is. I tell you with absolute authority, the state you seek to occupy already exists, complete and perfect in consciousness. Your journey is not to create it, but to awaken to its present reality. This is why sleep is such a perfect metaphor for manifestation. Now let us understand something that few will grasp, but that your soul will recognize as truth. When you sleep at night, you do not struggle to enter the dream state. You simply relax and allow it to embrace you. Similarly, you need not struggle to enter the state of your fulfilled desire. You need only relax your opposition to it. Most will continue to believe that they must fight and strain to achieve their dreams, never realizing that this very struggle keeps them bound to the state of wanting rather than having. But you who have been prepared to receive this message are ready to understand that relaxation, not effort, is the key. You see, while others exhaust themselves trying to make things happen, you are being awakened to the truth that nothing needs to happen. everything already is in consciousness. Your task is simply to enter the state of consciousness where your desire naturally exists. The very fact that these words continue to find resonance within you is evidence that you have evolved beyond the mass hypnosis of effort and struggle. You are ready to assume your rightful place as a conscious creator, knowing that what you seek is already yours in consciousness. Now, let me reveal to you something so fundamental about the nature of consciousness that it will transform your entire understanding of manifestation. The very state of consciousness you occupy while believing your desires are distant is the state that makes them appear distant in your world. You see, while humanity persists in believing that their good must be pursued, chased, and captured, you are being awakened to the truth that your good is pursuing you with the same intensity that you pursue it. For in consciousness, subject and object are one. Consider this eternal principle. The consciousness of having your desire and the consciousness of wanting your desire cannot occupy the same space. Just as you cannot be in New York and Los Angeles simultaneously in space, you cannot occupy these opposing states simultaneously in consciousness. I tell you with unwavering certainty, the moment you truly grasp that consciousness is the only reality, you will understand why your desires have seemed distant. They have seemed distant only because you have been conscious of their distance rather than their presence. Now let us understand something that the natural mind might reject, but that spiritual mind embraces fully. Your consciousness is not merely a receiver of reality, it is reality itself. The world you see is simply your consciousness pushed out, made visible. Most will continue to believe that their desires are separate from them, existing in some future time or distant place, never realizing that this very belief creates and sustains the experience of separation. But you who have been drawn to these words by divine law, are ready to understand that separation exists only in consciousness. You see, while others spend their lives trying to reach what they believe is far away, you are being awakened to the truth that nothing is far away in consciousness. In consciousness, where all creation takes place, everything exists in the eternal now. The very fact that you can conceive of your desire is proof of its present reality in consciousness. For consciousness can only conceive of what already exists within it. The power to conceive is the power to experience, for conception and experience are one. Now let me share with you something so profound about the relationship between your consciousness and your desires that it will revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. The very act of believing your dreams are distant is the act that creates the experience of distance. You see, while the world teaches you to bridge gaps and overcome obstacles to reach your desires, you are being awakened to the truth that these gaps and obstacles exist nowhere but in consciousness. They are as real and as unreal as the shadows cast by clouds across the earth. Consider this divine principle. In consciousness, there is no process of becoming. There is only being. When you enter a room, you do not gradually become present in that room. You are either present or you are not. The same law operates in the fulfillment of your desires. I tell you with absolute conviction, the state of consciousness you seek to attain exists now in its complete perfection. It is not becoming more perfect. It is not waiting to be created. It exists now as pure and complete as mathematics itself. Now, let us understand something that few will grasp, but that your deeper self knows as truth. The feeling of progress toward your desire, the sense of getting closer, is itself part of the illusion that keeps you in the state of wanting rather than having. Most will continue to measure their progress toward their dreams using external standards, never realizing that external reality is merely consciousness objectified. But you who have been prepared for this message, are ready to understand that all progress is progress in consciousness. You see, while others exhaust themselves with physical effort, believing they must do something to achieve their desires, you are being awakened to the truth that the only doing required is the doing in consciousness. For when consciousness changes, all else must change to conform to it. The very fact that these words find resonance within you is evidence that you have evolved beyond the mass hypnosis of time and process. You are ready to assume your rightful place as a conscious creator, knowing that what you seek is already yours in consciousness. Now let me reveal to you something so essential about the nature of your desires that it will completely transform your understanding of manifestation. The very consciousness that allows you to conceive of your desire is the same consciousness in which that desire already exists as fact. You see, while the world continues to teach that desires must be pursued through time and space, you are being awakened to the revolutionary truth that your desires are not ahead of you in time, but parallel to you in consciousness, existing now as completed realities. Consider this eternal principle. When you look into a mirror, your reflection doesn't gradually appear. It is either there or it is not. Similarly, your desire doesn't gradually become real. It is either accepted as real in consciousness or it is not. This is the law. I tell you with absolute authority, the gap you perceive between yourself and your desire exists nowhere but in your acceptance of such a gap. The moment you cease to accept separation from your desire, the illusion of separation must dissolve, for consciousness is only reality. Now, let us understand something that the rational mind might resist, but that the awakened mind embraces fully. The feeling of moving toward your desire is itself the very state that keeps it seemingly in the future. For how can you move toward what already exists where you are? Most will continue to believe in the necessity of time and process, never realizing that these are but conditions they have imposed upon themselves through their consciousness. But you who have been drawn to these words by divine law are ready to understand that time is not a distance to be traveled, but a state to be entered. You see, while others exhaust themselves trying to make things happen, you are being awakened to the truth that nothing needs to happen. Everything already is in consciousness. Your task is not to create, but to accept what already exists. The very fact that these words continue to find resonance within you is evidence that you have evolved beyond the mass hypnosis of becoming. You are ready to assume your rightful place as a conscious creator, knowing that what you seek seeks you with equal intensity. Now, as we draw these eternal principles to their culmination, let me share with you one final truth that will forever seal your understanding of the proximity of your desires. The very act of concluding this message is itself a demonstration of the principle we have been discussing. You see, just as this message has it is completeness from the moment we began, your desires exist in their completeness from the moment of their conception. The only variable is your awareness of this completion. Consider this final principle in this very moment. As these words reach their natural conclusion, nothing is actually ending. Rather, you are simply shifting your consciousness from one completed state to another. This is how all manifestation operates. I tell you with profound finality, your desires are not waiting to be fulfilled in some distant future. They are waiting here and now for your recognition of their present reality. The distance you have felt has been nothing more than the distance between your current state of consciousness and the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Now understand this ultimate truth that binds all we have discussed. You are not moving toward your desires are not moving toward you. In consciousness, where all creation takes place, everything exists in perfect simultaneity. The only movement required is the movement of your awareness. You who have remained attentive through these revelations are ready to accept that your dreams are not distant stars to be reached, but present realities to be recognized. The very fact that you can conceive of them proves their existence in the only place that matters, consciousness itself. As you leave this message, know that you leave not as one who must journey toward their dreams, but as one who has been awakened to the presence of their dreams. For in consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no journey, there is only awakening. Remember this. The consciousness that drew you to these words is the same consciousness in which your desires live and breathe. You need not reach for them, for they are as near as your own awareness. You need not struggle toward them, for they exist now in their perfect completion. Go forth now not as one who seeks, but as one who has found. Not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. For the truth you have received today is not a truth to be achieved. but a truth to be accepted, that your dreams are not distant, they are present, they are not becoming, they are. And know this with unwavering certainty. The very consciousness that allowed you to receive these words is the consciousness in which all your desires already exist in their fulfilled state. You have not been learning how to reach your dreams. You have been remembering that they are already yours. For consciousness is the only reality, and in consciousness all things exist now. This is the eternal truth that sets you free from the illusion of distance and time. This is the truth that transforms seeking into finding, becoming into being, and distance into presence. And now, as these words find their completion in consciousness, know that nothing is ending, rather, you are simply shifting your awareness to the truth that has always been, that you are closer to your dreams than you think. For in consciousness, where all creation takes place, they are not distant at all. They are here, they are now, they are you. Have you ever noticed that life feels lighter, more magical when you truly let go? When you stop trying to control everything and just breathe? Today I'm going to share something that changed my life completely, and I know it will change yours too. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath. This simple act of being present, of letting go, this is where your power lies. Not in struggling, not in fighting, but in surrendering to the infinite intelligence within you. You see, most people live their entire lives in a state of resistance. They're constantly pushing against what is, fighting what could be, worrying about what might be. But I'm here to tell you something that might shock you. The universe isn't separate from you. It's an extension of your consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're truly happy. In those moments, you're not trying to control anything. You're simply being. This state of being, this natural flow, this is your true power. But most never realize this because they're too busy trying to make things happen. Let me share something profound with you. Every time you worry about the future, every time you stress about how something will work out, you're actually resisting the natural flow of life. You're telling the universe you don't trust it. And what you resist persists. I remember a time when I was constantly trying to control everything in my life. Every detail, every outcome. I was exhausted, frustrated, and nothing seemed to work out the way I wanted. Then I discovered something that changed everything. The power of letting go. You see, letting go isn't about giving up. It's about understanding that there's an intelligence far greater than your conscious mind at work. When you truly grasp this, something magical happens. Life starts working for you instead of against you. Think about when you're falling asleep. You don't try to fall asleep, do you? You relax and allow sleep to come. This same principle applies to everything in life. The more you try to force things, the more they resist. The more you let go and trust, the more naturally things flow. Most people approach life like they're swimming upstream, constantly fighting against the current. But what if I told you that everything you want is actually downstream? What if all you need to do is stop struggling and allow yourself to flow with life instead of against it? The universe operates through perfect law. Just as gravity doesn't sometimes work and sometimes doesn't, it's always working. The law of consciousness is always working too. Your only job is to align yourself with it through the art of letting go. Consider this. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process. You know that the seed contains everything it needs to become what it's meant to be. Your desires are exactly the same. Most people don't realize that they're constant checking their anxiety, their need to control. These are the very things preventing their desires from manifesting. It's like constantly digging up the seed to see if it's growing. When you truly understand the art of letting go, you'll notice something remarkable. Things start working out better than you could have planned. It's as if life itself is orchestrating events in your favor. But this can only happen when you get out of your own way. Think about breathing for a moment. You don't control each breath, do you? There's something within you that knows exactly how to breathe, how to digest food, how to make your heart beat. This same intelligence knows exactly how to bring your desires to fruition. I've observed that most people live in a state of constant tension. They're always trying to figure everything out, always trying to make things happen. But life doesn't work that way. Life unfolds naturally when you allow it to. Consider how a flower blooms. It doesn't strain or struggle. It doesn't try to force its petals open. It simply allows the process to unfold naturally. This is exactly how manifestation works, through allowing, not forcing. The secret that most miss is this: your natural state is one of ease and flow. Struggle is learned. Anxiety is learned. Trust and relaxation are your natural state, just as they were when you were a small child. Most never realize that their power lies not in doing, but in being. When you're in the right state of consciousness, life moves you toward your desires automatically. You don't have to figure out how. I think about when you're in a state of complete trust. Notice how everything seems to work out effortlessly. This isn't coincidence. This is the natural result of letting go and allowing the infinite intelligence within you to work on your behalf. Your only job is to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled. Not through effort or strain, but through relaxed awareness. Just as you naturally accept that the sun will rise tomorrow, accept that what you desire is already yours. I've watched countless people struggle because they think they need to make things happen. But I tell you this, everything you want is already created. Your job is simply to relax into the state where it exists. Consider how easily water flows around obstacles. It doesn't fight them. It doesn't try to break them down. It simply finds another way. This is how you should move through life, with fluid adaptability and trust. Most people approach manifestation like it's a battle to be won. But I tell you this, it's a garden to be tended. Plant your seed, your desire, water it with attention, and then let it grow naturally. Think about when you're deeply relaxed, perhaps just before falling asleep. In those moments, your mind isn't racing to solve problems. You're simply being. This state of relaxed awareness is where your true power lies. Most never understand that their anxiety about outcomes is actually creating resistance to those very outcomes. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. Release the brake of worry and watch how naturally things begin to flow. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people finally grasp this truth, that their only job is to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not through effort or strain, but through relaxed, natural knowing. Consider how effortlessly your heart beats, how naturally your lungs breathe, how perfectly your body maintains its temperature. This same intelligence knows exactly how to bring your desires into reality. Trust it. The secret that transforms lives is this: your external world must conform to your internal state. But this doesn't happen through force. It happens through surrender, through letting go of the how, and trusting in the perfect law. Think about times when things worked out perfectly without your intervention. Remember that feeling of pleasant surprise? That's what happens when you get out of your own way and allow life to work for you. Most people live in a state of constant mental chatter, always trying to figure everything out. But I tell you this, your intellectual mind is not equipped to orchestrate the infinite details required to manifest your desires. Let go and trust. Consider how naturally a river flows to the ocean. It doesn't stress about the path. It doesn't worry about obstacles. It simply flows, knowing it will reach its destination. This is how you should live, in complete trust of the process. Your power lies in your ability to feel the reality of your desire now, while completely letting go of how it will manifest. The how is not your concern. Your only concern is maintaining the state of having already received. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that letting go isn't giving up. It's surrendering to a higher intelligence that knows far better than their conscious mind how to bring about their desires. Think about when you're truly in the flow of something you love. Time disappears, worry vanishes, and everything seems to happen perfectly. This state of flow is your natural state. The more you trust, the more you experience it. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still. Not a physical stillness, but a mental stillness. When your mind is still, when you're truly at peace with where you are, that's when magic happens. Consider how a seed becomes a tree. It doesn't happen through force or struggle. It happens through a natural unfolding, a perfect sequence of events that the seed doesn't need to control or understand. Think about how naturally you trust that night will turn to day. You don't lie awake wondering if the sun will rise. This same level of natural trust must be applied to everything you desire. It's not blind faith, it's understanding the law. Most people live in a state of constant seeking, always looking for their desire to manifest. But this very state of seeking implies that what you want is absent. The secret is to live as if you already have what you desire. I've watched people struggle for years because they keep trying to control the process. But when they finally let go, when they truly surrender to the perfect law within them, everything begins to shift effortlessly. Consider how easily you accept your own reflection in a mirror. There's no doubt, no questioning. This same level of natural acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Feel it as real as your reflection. The secret that changes everything is this. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is an effect, a shadow of your state. But most people spend their lives trying to change the shadow instead of changing the state that cast it. Think about when you're completely absorbed in something you love. You're not trying to make anything happen. You're simply being. This state of pure being, free from anxiety and effort, is where true creation occurs. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still and know. Not intellectual knowing, but a deep, unshakable knowing that transcends logic and external evidence. Consider how naturally water takes the shape of its container. Your consciousness is like water. It takes the shape of whatever state you pour it into. Choose your state wisely, for it will manifest in your world. Your external reality is nothing more than your internal state pushed out. But this doesn't mean you need to force changes. It means you need to relax into the state where what you desire already exists. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that letting go isn't a passive state. It's an active trust in the perfect law. They know that what they desire is already theirs in consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're completely at peace. There's no struggle, no effort, no trying to make things happen. This state of peace is actually your most powerful creative state. Most people approach their desires like they're reaching for something far away. But I tell you this, your desire isn't out there somewhere. It's a state of consciousness that you must occupy now. Consider how naturally you accept that spring follows winter. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the fulfillment of your desires. Think about the feeling of complete certainty you have about simple facts, like knowing your own name. That same level of certainty, that same absence of doubt, must be applied to your desires, not through force, but through understanding. Most people live in constant anticipation, always waiting for their desire to manifest. But this state of waiting keeps pushing the manifestation into an endless future. The secret is to live as if it's already done. I've witnessed the most remarkable transformations when people finally grasp that their power lies not in doing, but in being. When they stop trying to make things happen and start allowing things to unfold naturally. Consider how effortlessly you fall asleep when you're truly tired. You don't force it, you allow it. This same principle applies to manifestation. The more you try to force it, the more it eludes you. The more you allow, the more naturally it comes. The secret that most miss is this: your imagination isn't showing you possibilities. It's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. Your job is simply to occupy the state where your desire exists. Think about how you feel when you remember something that actually happened. There's a certain solidity to it, a realness. Your desired state must feel just as solid, just as real, just as unquestionable. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to feel the reality of their desire more intensely than they feel current circumstances. When you master this, manifestation becomes automatic. Consider how naturally you accept the changing of seasons. You don't resist it, you don't doubt it. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Your consciousness is like a signal you're constantly broadcasting to the universe. The clearer the signal, meaning the more stable your state, the faster the manifestation. But clarity comes through relaxation, not effort. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances don't create state. State creates circumstances. They lie from the end, feeling it real now. Think about how you feel when you're absolutely certain about something. You don't try to make it true, you know it's true. This is the feeling state that manifests instantly. Most people approach manifestation like it's something they need to figure out. But I tell you this, it's already figured out. Your only job is to occupy the state where what you desire already exists. Consider how naturally you accept your own existence. You don't question it, you don't doubt it. This same level of unquestionable acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Think about how easily you accept that your reflection in a mirror is yours. There's no doubt, no questioning. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your desires. They are as much yours as your reflection. Most people live in a state of constant comparison, always measuring where they are against where they want to be. But this very act of comparison keeps them stuck in the state of wanting. The secret is to live from the state of having. I've watched countless individuals transform their entire lives when they finally understood that their power isn't in changing thinking. Consider how naturally you accept that when you drop something it will fall. You don't doubt gravity. This same unwavering acceptance must be applied to the law of consciousness. It's just as reliable as gravity. The secret that changes everything is this: your external world has no choice but to reflect your inner state. It's not personal, it's law. Just as a mirror must reflect what stands before it, your world must reflect your consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're completely immersed in doing something you love. Time disappears, worry vanishes, and you're simply being. This pure state of being is where true creative power lies. Most never realize that every moment of discomfort is actually a call to shift states. When you feel dissatisfied, it's not the circumstance that needs to change. It's your state of consciousness. Consider how naturally you accept that tomorrow will come. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural confidence must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Your power to create isn't something you need to acquire. It's something you're using every moment. The question is, are you using it consciously or unconsciously? I have observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that their state of consciousness is like a frequency they're broadcasting. The clearer and more consistent the frequency, the faster the manifestation. Think about how you feel when you remember something that actually happened. There's a certainty to it, an unquestionable reality. Your desired state must feel just as certain, just as real. Most people spend their lives trying to manifest from a state of wanting, not realizing that wanting can only create more wanting. The secret is to manifest from a state of having. Consider how naturally you accept the air you breathe. You don't doubt its presence. You don't worry about its availability. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your desires. Think about how effortlessly water finds its level. It doesn't struggle, it doesn't force, it simply flows. Your manifestation should come just as naturally, just as effortlessly when you're in the right state. Most people live in a constant state of mental warfare, fighting against their current reality while trying to create a new one. But this very fight creates resistance. The secret is to relax into your desired state as naturally as you relax into sleep. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people finally grasp that their only task is to maintain the feeling of their desire fulfilled, not through strain or effort, but through natural, relaxed awareness. Consider how easily you differentiate between hot and cold. You don't think about it, you just know. This same level of immediate, unquestioning knowing must be applied to your desired state. The secret that most never realize is this: your imagination isn't showing you fantasies, it's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes instantaneous. Think about how naturally you accept that your heart will keep beating. You don't worry about it, you don't try to control it. This same level of natural trust must be applied to the manifestation of your desires. Most never understand that their power lies not in what they do, but in the state from which they do it. The same action taken from different states produces entirely different results. Consider how easily you recognize your own voice. There's no doubt, no questioning. Your desired state must feel just as familiar, just as undeniably yours. Your external world is nothing but your internal state made visible. But this doesn't mean you need to fight against current circumstances. Simply occupy the state where what you desire already exists. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances are shadows. And you can't fight a shadow. You can only change the object casting it, your state of consciousness. Think about how naturally you accept the ground beneath your feet. You don't question whether it will support you. This same unquestioning trust must be applied to the law of consciousness. Most people approach manifestation like it's a battle to be won. But I tell you this, it's a state to be occupied. When you occupy the right state, everything else adjusts automatically. Consider how easily you know whether you're happy or sad. You don't need to think about it. You just know. This same immediate knowing must be applied to your desired state. Think about how naturally you accept that after every night comes day. This isn't hope or wishful thinking, it's knowing. Your desired state must feel just as certain, just as inevitable. Most people live in constant mental turmoil, always torn between what is and what could be. But this very division keeps them stuck. The secret is to be single-minded in your consciousness of the desired state. I've watched countless lives transform when people finally understand that their power lies not in changing things on the outside, but in changing the state from which they view everything. Consider how easily you know your own name. There's no doubt, no questioning, no need for evidence. Your desired state must feel just as natural, just as undeniably yours. The secret that changes everything is this. Your consciousness is like a radio signal you're constantly broadcasting. The universe has no choice but to respond to your frequency. But most people keep changing stations. Think about how naturally you accept that spring follows winter. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still. Not physical stillness, but mental stillness. When your mind is truly still, truly at peace with your desired state, that's when magic happens. Consider how effortlessly you recognize your own reflection. You don't need to convince yourself it's you. You just know. This same level of natural recognition must be applied to your desired state. Your external reality is nothing but your internal state projected outward. But this projection isn't something you need to force. It happens automatically when you maintain the right state. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that their job isn't to make things happen, but to occupy the state where things have already happened. Think about how naturally you accept that water is wet. You don't question it, you don't doubt it. This same unquestioning acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Most people spend their lives trying to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. But I tell you this, there is no gap except in consciousness. Consider how easily you know whether you're awake or asleep. This knowing isn't something you achieve, it's something you experience. Your desired state must be experienced just as naturally. Think about how naturally you accept that your eyes see color. You don't question it, you don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your manifestations. Most people live in a state of constant seeking, always looking outside themselves for evidence of their desires. But this very act of seeking implies absence. The secret is to live from the state of fulfillment. I've witnessed the most profound transformations when people finally grasp that their only responsibility is to maintain the feeling tone of their desire fulfilled, not through force, but through relaxed awareness. Consider how effortlessly you know whether you're hungry or full. There's no debate, no questioning. Your desired state must feel just as undeniable, just as real to your consciousness. The secret that most miss is this. Your imagination isn't simply showing you possibilities. It's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. Your job is to occupy these realities through feeling. Think about how naturally you accept that ice is cold. You don't need proof, you don't question it. This same level of natural knowing must be applied to your desired state. Most never understand that their power lies not in what they do, but in the state from which they do it. The same action taken from different states produces entirely different results. Consider how easily you recognize your favorite song. The moment you hear it, you know it. Your desired state must be just as instantly recognizable to your consciousness. Your consciousness is like the soil in which all seeds of possibility grow. But most people keep digging up their seeds to check if they're growing, not realizing that this very act prevents growth. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances don't create consciousness. Consciousness creates circumstances. Think about how naturally you accept that fire is hot. There's no doubt, no need for proof. Your desired state must feel just as undeniably real. Most people approach manifestation like it's something they need to achieve. But I tell you, this is something you need to allow. It's already done in consciousness. Consider how effortlessly you know whether you're comfortable or uncomfortable. This immediate knowing must be applied to your desired state. It's not something you figure out, it's something you feel. Let us begin by understanding that these four elements, your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money, are not separate entities, but rather interconnected aspects of your consciousness. They are the pillars upon which the temple of your life is built. And just as a maestro conducts an orchestra, you have the power to conduct these elements of your life with grace, precision, and purpose. First, let us consider the mouth. Your words are not mere sounds that dissipate into the air. They are living, breathing manifestations of your inner world. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the universe. Consider carefully, my dear friends, what kind of harvest you wish to reap. For as surely as night follows day, your words will return to you, manifested in the physical world. When you speak, you are engaging in a divine act of creation. You are, in essence, speaking your world into existence. This is not mere metaphor, but the very principle upon which our reality is constructed. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You, my dear friends, are that God in human form, and your words carry the same creative power. Consider for a moment the words you use in your daily life. Are they words of lack or abundance, of fear or love, of limitation or infinite possibility? I urge you to become acutely aware of your verbal expressions. Listen to yourself as you speak. Are your words aligned with your desires, with the life you wish to create? If you find yourself habitually speaking of problems, of difficulties, of things you do not want, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself of your divine nature, of your power to create. Then, consciously choose words that reflect the reality you wish to experience. Speak of abundance, of joy, of love, of success, not as distant possibilities, but as present facts. Remember, my dear friends, that your subconscious mind does not discriminate between what you want and what you do not want. It simply accepts what you repeatedly tell it through your words and feelings. Therefore, frame your speech always in the positive. Instead of saying, I don't want to be poor, say, I am abundantly prosperous. Instead of, I hope I don't fail, say, I succeed in all my endeavors. This control of the mouth is not about suppressing your true feelings or denying your current circumstances. It is about consciously choosing to align your speech with your desired reality. It is about speaking from the end, from the state of wish fulfilled, rather than from the limited perspective of your current situation. As you master this control of your mouth, you will find that your mind naturally begins to follow suit. For the mind and the mouth are intimately connected, each influencing and reinforcing the other. Your thoughts become your words, and your words in turn shape your thoughts. It is a divine dance, a cosmic interplay that you have the power to direct. Now let us turn our attention to the mind. Your mind, my dear friends, is the most powerful tool in the universe. It is the workshop wherein you fashion the template of your life. Every experience you have, every circumstance you encounter is first conceived in the realm of your mind. The control of your mind begins with the recognition of its true nature. Your mind is not confined to the physical brain. It extends far beyond the boundaries of your skull, encompassing all of creation. In truth, there is only one mind, the universal mind, and your individual mind is but a center of awareness within this infinite sea of consciousness. With this understanding, you begin to grasp the enormity of your power. Your thoughts are not private affairs, locked away in the recesses of your brain. They are living, vibrating energies that go forth into the universe, attracting and creating in accordance with their nature. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This is not poetic language, but a statement of cosmic law. To control your mind is to become the master of your fate. the captain of your soul. It is to take conscious charge of the creative process that is constantly unfolding in your life. But how does one achieve this control? It begins with awareness. Become the observer of your thoughts. Watch them as they arise without judgment, without attachment. As you cultivate this awareness, you will begin to notice patterns in your thinking. You may discover habitual thoughts of lack, of unworthiness, of fear. Do not be discouraged by these discoveries. They are not indictments of your character, but opportunities for transformation. For in becoming aware of these thought patterns, you gain the power to change them. The key to transforming your thoughts lies in your power of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true, your subconscious mind accepts as fact and proceeds to bring into your experience. Therefore, assume only the best for yourself and others. Assume that you are worthy, that you are loved, that you are abundantly prosperous. Assume that the universe is friendly, that life is on your side. This assumption is not a mere intellectual exercise. It must be felt, embraced with every level of your being. For your subconscious mind is moved not by idle fancy, but by the depth of your feeling. Whatever you feel is true, whatever you accept as real in the depth of your being, must inevitably express itself in your outer world. As you assume these states, these new patterns of thought, you may encounter resistance from your old habitual thinking. This is natural. The mind, like any muscle, requires training to develop new strengths. Be patient with yourself. Persist in your new assumptions. For remember, my dear friends, persistence is the secret. What you persist in assuming, despite all evidence to the contrary, will inevitably harden into fact. In this process of controlling your mind, imagination plays a crucial role. Your imagination is the gateway between the visible and the invisible, between the world of effects and the world of causes. It is through your imagination that you can enter into the state of your wish fulfilled, experiencing now what you desire to experience in the future. Use your imagination deliberately, consciously. Before you sleep each night, enter into a state of deep relaxation. Then, with your inner eye, see yourself as you wish to be. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the fulfillment of your desire already accomplished. Fall asleep in this state, allowing your subconscious mind to work throughout the night, aligning all the forces necessary to bring your assumption into physical reality. As you master this control of your mind, you will find that your mood naturally elevates. For mood is but the emotional atmosphere created by your dominant thoughts and beliefs. And here we come to the third element of our discussion, the control of your mood. Your mood, my dear friends, is not at the mercy of external circumstances. It is not determined by what happens to you, but by your interpretation of what happens. And this interpretation is entirely within your control. You have the power to choose your mood regardless of external conditions. This may seem a bold claim, especially when faced with challenging circumstances. But I assure you, it is the truth. Your mood is a choice, a decision you make moment by moment. And it is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. For your mood colors your entire experience of life. Consider for a moment the last time you were in a jovial mood. Did not the world seem brighter? Did not even mundane tasks take on a sense of joy? Conversely, think of a time when you were in a foul mood. Did not even pleasant circumstances seem tainted? This is the power of mood. It is the lens through which you perceive and interact with the world. To control your mood is to take charge of this lens. It is to consciously choose the emotional state from which you will approach life. And the most effective way to do this is through the power of feeling. For feeling is the secret, the key that unlocks the door to all creation. When you wish to shift your mood, do not struggle against your current emotional state. Instead, ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were already fulfilled? What would be my mood if I were already the person I wish to be? Then, with all the intensity you can muster, feel that feeling. Let it permeate every cell of your body. This is not mere positive thinking or emotional suppression. It is a fundamental shift in your state of being. It is stepping into the skin of your ideal self, assuming the mood that naturally accompanies the fulfillment of your desires. As you persist in this feeling, you will find your mood shifting, aligning with your assumed state. Remember, my dear friends, that your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. Therefore, as you assume the mood of your wish fulfilled, your subconscious accepts this as reality and begins to rearrange your outer world to match this inner state. This control of mood is particularly powerful when dealing with challenging circumstances. When faced with seeming adversity, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself of your divine nature, of your power to choose your response. Then, consciously choose a mood of confidence, of assurance, of knowing that all is working out for your highest good. As you practice this control of mood, you may find that certain people, places, or activities naturally elevate your emotional state. Seek these out. Surround yourself with those who inspire and uplift you. Engage in activities that bring you joy and peace, for your environment plays a significant role in shaping your mood. However, do not become dependent on external factors to maintain your desired mood. The ultimate goal is to cultivate an inner state of joy and peace that is unshakable, regardless of external circumstances. This comes through consistent practice, through repeatedly choosing your desired mood, until it becomes your natural state of being. As you master the control of your mouth, mind, and mood, you will find that control of your money naturally follows. For money, my dear friends, is but a symbol, a representation of the energy exchange in our physical world. And like all things in our universe, it responds to the law of assumption. Your financial situation is not determined by external economic conditions, by your background, or by chance. It is a direct reflection of your consciousness about money, your beliefs about wealth, your feelings about abundance, your assumptions about your worthiness to receive. All these form the template upon which your financial reality is built. To control your money, therefore, is to control your consciousness about money. It begins with examining your current beliefs about wealth. What did you learn about money in your childhood? What assumptions do you hold about rich people, about your own ability to create wealth? Bring these beliefs to the surface of your awareness, for only then can you begin to change them. Many people unknowingly harbor negative beliefs about money. They may believe that money is the root of all evil, that wealth only comes through struggle, or that they are somehow unworthy of abundance. If you find such beliefs within yourself, do not judge them. Simply recognize them for what they are, limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. Once you have identified these limiting beliefs, you can begin to replace them with empowering ones. Assume that money is a natural and good part of life. Assume that wealth flows to you easily and abundantly. Assume that you are worthy of all the abundance the universe has to offer. Remember, my dear friends, that the universe is limitless abundance. There is no scarcity in the mind of God. Therefore, as you align your consciousness with this truth, as you assume a state of abundance, you have opened yourself to the infinite flow of universal supply. This assumption of wealth must be more than a mere intellectual exercise. It must be felt, embraced with every fiber of your being. Feel the joy of abundance. Feel the security of financial freedom. Feel the excitement of being able to bless others with your wealth. For it is your feeling that gives life to your assumption, that impresses it upon your subconscious mind. As you cultivate this feeling of wealth, you may find that opportunities for increasing your financial abundance begin to present themselves. A new job offer may come your way. A business idea may spark in your mind. An unexpected windfall may occur. These are not coincidences, but the natural result of your shift in consciousness. However, do not become fixated on the particular means by which your wealth will come. Your job is not to figure out how your assumption will be realized, but simply to persist in the assumption. The universe has infinite channels through which it can deliver your good to you. Trust in this infinite intelligence to bring about the fulfillment of your desire in ways that may surpass your current imagination. In this process of controlling your money, gratitude plays a crucial role. Be thankful for the abundance you already have, no matter how small it may seem. For gratitude is the attitude that brings more to be grateful for. It aligns you with the frequency of abundance, opening you to receive even greater good. Moreover, cultivate a consciousness of giving. For giving and receiving are but two aspects of the same divine flow. As you give freely and joyously, you affirm your trust in the abundance of the universe. You demonstrate your faith that as you give, so shall you receive. This attitude of generous giving opens the floodgates of universal supply. Remember, my dear friends, that money is energy. It responds to your thoughts, your feelings, your assumptions about it. Therefore, treat money with respect. Appreciate it when it comes into your life. Use it wisely and for the highest good. As you do so, you become a good steward of wealth, and the universe entrusts you with even greater abundance. As you practice these principles, as you learn to control your mouth, mind, mood, and mind mood, for these four elements are not isolated aspects of your existence, but interconnected facets of your being. As you master one, you inevitably influence the others. Your controlled speech leads to controlled thoughts, which create an elevated mood, which in turn attracts greater abundance. This abundance then reinforces your positive speech and thoughts, creating an upward spiral of ever-increasing joy, peace, and prosperity. But remember, my dear friends, that this control is not about rigid discipline or forced positivity. It is about aligning yourself with your true nature, with the divine power that resides within you. It is about becoming a conscious co-creator with the universe, deliberately shaping your reality through the power of your assumption. This journey of control is not always easy. There will be times when old habits resurface, when doubts creep in, when external circumstances seem to contradict your assumptions. In these moments, don't despair. Do not judge yourself harshly. Simply recognize these challenges as opportunities for growth, as chances to strengthen your newfound control. Persist in your assumptions, no matter what. For remember, persistence is the secret. What you persist in assuming, despite all evidence to the contrary, must inevitably harden into fact. Your outer world has no choice but to reflect your inner convictions. As you continue on this path, you will find that your control becomes more natural, more effortless. What once required conscious effort becomes your default state of being. You will speak words of power without thinking. Your mind will naturally dwell on thoughts of abundance and joy. Your mood will stabilize at a high vibration, and money will flow to you with ease and grace. But do not stop there, my dear friends, for this control is not an end in itself, but a means to a greater purpose. As you master these aspects of your being, you become a beacon of light in the world. You become a living testament to the power that resides within each human being. Use your controlled speech to uplift and inspire others. Use your disciplined mind to solve problems and create innovations that benefit humanity. Let your elevated mood bring joy and comfort to those around you. Use your abundance to make a positive difference in the world. For in truth, we are all one. As you elevate yourself, you elevate all of humanity. As you transform your own life, you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. This is the ultimate purpose of the control we have discussed tonight, not merely personal gain, but the upliftment of all beings. So go forth, my dear friends, with this newfound understanding. Practice these principles diligently. Learn to control your mouth, mind, mood, and money. But do so with love, with joy, with a sense of playful exploration. For you are embarking on the greatest adventure possible, the discovery and expression of your true divine nature. Remember always that you are not a mere mortal struggling in a hostile world. You are a divine being, a child of the infinite, temporarily wearing a human costume. All the power of the universe resides within you. As you learn to control these aspects of your being, you are simply allowing more of your true self to shine through. Speak with the authority of a God. Think with the wisdom of the universe. Feel the joy of your divine nature. Create abundance as naturally as the sun gives light. For this is your birthright, your true inheritance. And so, my dear friends, I leave you with this final thought. The control we have discussed tonight is not about dominating or manipulating your reality. It is about awakening to your true power, about aligning yourself with the divine flow of life. It is about becoming who you truly are. As you leave this place tonight, carry with you the knowledge of your divine nature. Let it infuse every word you speak, every thought you think, every feeling you experience, every dollar you earn or spend. Let it guide you in every moment, in every decision. For as you do so, as you learn to control these aspects of your being, you will find that you are not really controlling them at all. You are simply allowing your true self, your divine nature, to express itself more fully through you. And in that expression, you will find freedom, joy, and a peace that passes all understanding. Go now and be the masters of your reality that you were always meant to be. Speak your world into existence. Think thoughts worthy of your divine heritage. Feel the joy of your true nature. Create abundance as effortlessly as you breathe. For this is your destiny, your purpose, your very reason for being. And know that as you do so, as you master this control, you are fulfilling the grandest purpose of all. You are allowing God to express more fully through you. You are becoming a clearer channel for the divine to enter this world. You are, in essence, letting your light shine. So shine bright, my dear friends. Shine with all the radiance of your controlled speech, your disciplined mind, your edited mood, and your effort. Shine so brightly that others cannot help but be illuminated by your light. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Remember, the power is within you. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. It is closer than your breath, nearer than your heartbeat. It is not something to be attained, but something to be realized, to be expressed, to be lived. As you leave here tonight, carry this truth with you. Let it be your guiding light, your constant companion. Let it inform every aspect of your being. your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. For as you do so, you will find that life becomes a joyous adventure, a grand exploration of your infinite potential. And so, my dear friends, I bid you good night. But know that this is not an ending, but a beginning of a new life, a new way of being, a life of conscious creation, of deliberate manifestation, of joyous self-expression. Go forth and create miracles. Go forth and live the life you have always dreamed of. Go forth and be the divine beings that you truly are. For in doing so, you fulfill your highest purpose, you express your truest nature, and you bring heaven to earth. Good night, my dear friends. And may your journey of control and self-realization be filled with joy, wonder, and endless discovery. For you are the makers of your destiny, the authors of your story, the creators of your reality. Embrace this power, use it wisely, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Remember, it all begins with you. With your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. Master these, and you master your world. For in truth, there is no world out there independent of your consciousness. It all exists within you, waiting to be called forth by your creative power. So call forth a world of beauty, of love, of abundance. Call forth a reality that reflects your highest vision of yourself and of humanity. For as you do so, you participate in the greatest act of creation possible, the conscious evolution of human consciousness. And with that, my dear friends, I leave you to your own divine exploration. May your words be powerful, your thoughts elevated, your mood joyous, and your abundance limitless. For this is your true nature, your divine birthright. Good night and God bless you all. This secret is encapsulated in 5 powerful words. Be silent, anything that you watch will happen. Now you might be wondering, what does it mean to be silent? And how can silence possibly bring about the manifestation of our deepest desires? My dear friends, the silence I speak of is not merely the absence of sound, but a state of being, a profound inner quietude that allows the creative power within you to work its magic. In this silence, you will find the birthplace of all creation. It is the womb of the universe, the void from which all things emerge. When you learn to cultivate this silence, to nurture it within yourself, you tap into the very source of all that is, was, and ever will be. But let me be clear, this is not a passive silence. It is not a state of inaction or resignation. No, the silence I speak of is alive, vibrant, and pulsing with creative energy. It is a silence filled with the certainty of your desire fulfilled. A silence pregnant with possibility. Imagine, if you will, a seed planted in the earth. Does it make a sound as it grows? Does it announce its intentions to the world? No, it grows in silence, pushing through the soil, reaching for the sun, all without a whisper. And yet in that silence, a miracle unfolds. From a tiny seed emerges a mighty oak, a beautiful flower, or a bountiful fruit tree. Your desires, my friends, are like that seed. They do not need to be shouted from the rooftops or constantly verbalized. In fact, the more you speak of them, the more you rob them their power. Instead, plant them in the fertile soil of your imagination, water them with the certainty of their fulfillment, and then be silent. Allow them to grow in the secret, sacred space of your inner world. This silence is not about suppressing your desires or denying their existence. On the contrary, it's about giving them the space and energy they need to manifest. When you constantly speak about what you want, when you continually focus on the lack of it in your life, you're essentially telling the universe, this is what I don't have. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, continues to reflect that lack back to you. But when you plant your desire in silence, when you nurture it in the quiet certainty of its fulfillment, you're sending a different message. You're saying to the universe, this is already mine. It is done. And the universe has no choice but to conform to this new reality you've created within yourself. Let me share with you a story that illustrates this principle. There was once a man who desperately wanted a promotion at work. He talked about it constantly, telling anyone who'd listened about how much he deserved it, how hard he had worked, and how unfair it was that he hadn't received it yet. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and still the promotion eluded him. Then one day he heard these very words we're discussing today. He decided to try a different approach. He stopped talking about the promotion altogether. Instead, he went into the silence of his imagination. There he saw himself sitting in the new office, felt the pride and satisfaction of his new position, heard the congratulations of his colleagues. He lived from the end, experiencing the fulfillment of his desire as a present fact. In his outer world, he continued to work diligently, but he no longer spoke of the promotion. He no longer complained about not having it. He simply knew in the depths of his being that it was already his. And do you know what happened? Within a month, he was called into his boss's office and offered the very position he had been imagining. This, my friends, is the power of silence. It is the power of living from the end, of experiencing your desire fulfilled in the inner world of imagination. For when you do this, when you truly embody the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the outer world has no choice but to reshape itself to match your intent. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just another version of the power of positive thought? And to that I say emphatically no. This is not mere positive thinking. This is not about trying to consult that something good might happen. This is about knowing with absolute certainty that what you desire is already yours. You see, in the realm of imagination, there is no future. There is only the eternal now. When you enter into the silence of your imagination and experience your desire as fulfilled, you are not hoping for a future event. You are experiencing a present reality. And it is this present experience, this living from the end, that has the power to reshape your world. Let me explain further. The world you see around you, the circumstances of your life, are nothing more than the outpicturing of your estates. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your job, your relationships, your financial situation, these are all shadows, reflections of what you hold to be true in your imagination. So when you enter into the silence and live from the end, experiencing your desire as fulfilled, you are quite literally changing your world from the inside out. You are impressing upon the subconscious mind a new concept of self, a new pattern of thinking and being. And your subconscious mind, which knows no difference between what is vividly imagined and what is actually experienced in the outer world, begins to work tirelessly to bring about the conditions that match this new self-concept. This, my dear friends, is why silence is so powerful. In silence, you are free from the limitations of your current circumstances. In silence, you are free from the doubts and fears that may plague your waking mind. In silence, you are free to be, to experience, to live as the person who has already achieved their heart's desire. But let me be clear, this silence, this living from the end, is not a one-time event. It's not something you do once and then sit back and wait for results. No, it is a state of being that you must return to again and again until it becomes your natural way of existing in the world. Think of it like this. If you were to plant a seed and then immediately after see if it had grown, what would happen? The seed would never have the chance to take root, to sprout, to grow into the magnificent plant it was meant to be. In the same way, if you enter into the silence, experience your desires fulfilled, and then immediately return to your old patterns of thinking and speaking, constantly checking to see if your desire has manifested, you rob it of the very energy it needs to come into being. Instead, you must trust in the process. You must have faith in the power of your imagination. You must know with every fiber of your being that what you have experienced in the silence of your imagination is more real, more true than anything you can see or touch in the outer world. This brings us to another crucial aspect of being silent, letting go. Once you have planted the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your imagination, once you have lived from the end and experienced it as fulfilled, you must let it go. Release it into the hands of the universe, trusting that the same power that turns an acorn into an oak tree, that turns a caterpillar into a butterfly, will bring your desire into manifestation. This letting go is not about forgetting your desire or no longer wanting it. It's about releasing the anxiety, the doubt, the need to control how and when it will come about. It's about surrendering to the wisdom of the universe, knowing that it has infinite ways of bringing about what you desire, ways that your limited human mind could never conceive of. Remember, the universe is not constrained by what you consider possible or probable. It operates according to laws that transcend human understanding. Your job is not to figure out how your desire will manifest. Your job is simply to live from the end, to be the person who already has what they desire, and to trust in the perfect unfolding of divine timing. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Neville, what if I have multiple desires? What if there are many things I want to manifest in my life? And to that I say, wonderful. The creative power within you is limitless. It is not constrained by time or space or the number of desires you hold in your heart. However, I would caution you against trying to focus on too many things at once. Remember, the power lies in your ability to live from the end, to fully embody the feeling of your desire fulfilled. This becomes more challenging when you're juggling multiple desires. Instead, I suggest you focus on one primary desire at a time. Choose the one that, if fulfilled, would have the greatest positive impact on your life. Then enter into the silence and live from the end of that desire fulfilled. As you do this, you may find that many of your other desires naturally fall into place. For when you change your concept of self at a fundamental level, every aspect of your life begins to shift to align with this new self-concept. Let's delve deeper into this concept of living from the end. What does it really mean to live although your desire is already fulfilled? It means assuming the feeling, the state of consciousness of the person who already has what you desire. If your desire is for financial abundance, then in the silence of your imagination, feel the peace and security that comes with having more than enough. Feel the joy of being able to buy what you want when you want. Feel the satisfaction of being able to help others, to give generously. Embody these feelings so completely that when you open your eyes and return to your chant, if your desire is for a loving relationship, then in your imagination, feel the warmth of your partner's embrace. Feel the joy of shared laughter, the comfort of deep understanding. Feel the satisfaction of giving and receiving love freely and fully. Let these feelings permeate your being so completely that you carry the energy of love with you wherever you go. If your desire is for a successful career, then in your inner world, feel the pride of achievement. Feel the satisfaction of doing work you love. Feel the respect and admiration of your colleagues. Embody these feelings so thoroughly that you begin to carry yourself with the confidence and poise of someone who is already successful. The key here is feeling. Your feelings are the secret to your power. They are the language of the subconscious mind, the fuel that powers your manifestations. When you can genuinely feel as though your desire is fulfilled, when you can maintain that feeling regardless of your outer circumstances, you have mastered the art of creation. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, this sounds like self-deception. Aren't we just fooling ourselves? And to that I say emphatically no. You are not deceiving yourself. You are aligning yourself with a higher truth, a deeper reality. You see, my dear friends, time is an illusion. The future you desire already exists in the infinite now of imagination. When you enter into the silence and live from the end, you are not creating something new. You are simply choosing to experience a reality that already exists. Think of it like this. I imagine you are in a dark room and there's a light switch on the wall. The electricity, the potential for light is already there. It exists whether the switch is on or off. When you flip the switch, you're not creating the light. You're simply choosing to experience it. In the same way, when you live from the end in your imagination, you're not creating your desire. You're choosing to experience it, to align yourself with it. This is why being silent is so crucial. When you constantly talk about what you want, when you focus on the lack of it in your life, you're essentially keeping the light switch off. You're choosing to experience the reality of not having. But when you go into the silence, when you live from the end and feel the joy of your desire fulfilled, you're flipping that switch. You're choosing to experience the reality where your desire is already manifest. Now I want to address something that many of you may be struggling with. You might be thinking, but Neville, I've tried this. I've imagined my desire fulfilled. I've tried to feel it real, but nothing has changed. What am I doing wrong? My dear friends, if this is you, I want you to know that you're not alone. Many people struggle with this at first. The key lies in persistence and in truly understanding what it means to live from the fan. You see, living from the end is not about visualizing your desire for a few minutes each day and then returning to your old patterns of thinking and being. It's about a fundamental shift in your self-concept. It's about becoming, in your imagination and in your feeling, the person who already has what you desire. This takes practice and dedication. It takes a willingness to challenge your old beliefs and patterns of thinking. But most of all, it takes faith. Faith not in some external power, but in the creative power of your own imagination. Remember, your imagination is not separate from reality. It is the very substance of reality. The world you see around you was once only imagined. Every invention, every work of art, every human achievement began as a seed in someone's imagination. Your desires are no different. They are the seeds of your future reality, waiting to be planted in the fertile soil of your imagination and nurtured in the silence of your being. So if you've been struggling, I urge you not to give up. Return to the silence. Go deeper into the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Make it more real, more vivid, more alive within you. And most importantly, persist. Persist in the face of every contrary appearance in your outer world. For it is your persistence, your unwavering faith in the reality of your amadat that will ultimately bring it into manifestation. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of this process, detachment. When I say be silent, anything that you wish will happen, the silence I'm referring to also includes a detachment from the how and when of your manifestation. You see, many people make the mistake of trying to control every aspect of their manifestation. They imagine their desire fulfilled, but then they start worrying about how it will come about. They start trying to manipulate people and circumstances to bring about their desire. But this is a form of doubt. It's a lack of faith in the power of your imaginal act. True silence, true faith means letting go of the need to control. It means trusting that the same intelligence that keeps your heart beating, that grows your hair and nails, that maintains the perfect balance of life on this planet, is more than capable of bringing your desire into manifestation in the perfect way and at the perfect time. This detachment is not indifference. It's not about not caring whether your desire manifests or not. Rather, it's about being so certain of its manifestation that you no longer feel the need to manipulate or control. It's about resting in the absolute knowing that what you have experienced in your imagination is more real than anything in your outer world, and that your outer world must, by law, conform to this inner reality. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine you've ordered a package online. Once you've placed the order, do you sit by your mailbox day and night, worrying about whether the package will arrive? Do you call the shipping company every hour to check on its status? Of course not. You trust that the package is on its way. You go about your life knowing that it will arrive at the perfect time. This is the kind of detachment I'm talking about. Once you've placed your order with the universe by living from the end in your imagination, let it return. Trust that it's on its way. Go about your life from the state of consciousness of someone who already has what they desire. Now, this doesn't mean you become passive. You still take inspired action when it presents itself. But this action comes from a place of being, not from a place of lack or need. It's the natural expression of the new you, the you that is living from the end. Let's delve deeper into this concept of inspired action. When you're truly living from the end, when you fully embody the state of consciousness of having your desire fulfilled, you'll find that opportunities and inspirations naturally come to you. These are not actions you force or plan. They arise spontaneously from your new state of being. For instance, if you're living from the end of being financially abundant, you might suddenly feel inspired to start a new business venture. If you're living from the end of being in a loving relationship, you might feel moved to join a new social group where you'll meet like-minded people. These inspirations are your new state of consciousness expressing itself in your outer world. The key is to follow these inspirations without attachment to the outcome. You're not taking these actions to make your desire happen. You're taking them because they're the natural expression of who you now are in your imagination. This brings us to another important point, the role of action in this process. Some people misunderstand the principle of living from the end and think it means they should do nothing in their outer world. They believe that if they just imagine enough, their desire will magically appear without any effort on their part. But this is not what living from the end means. Living from the end doesn't negate action, it informs action. When you're truly living from the end, your actions naturally align with your desired state. You begin to act like the person who already has what you desire. If you're living from the end of being a successful author, for example, if you'll sit around waiting for a book to magically appear with your name on it, you write, you edit, you submit your work to publishers, but you do all of this from the state of consciousness of already being a successful author. You're not writing to become an author, you're writing because you are an author. This subtle shift in consciousness makes all the difference. It takes the struggle out of your actions. It aligns you with opportunities that support your new state of being. It allows you to act with confidence and certainty, knowing that you're not working towards your desire, but from your desire already fulfilled. Now, I want to address something that many of you may be grappling with. You might be thinking, but Neville, what about the evidence of my senses? How can I live from the end when everything in my outer world tells me that my desire is not yet fulfilled? This, my dear friends, is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, not wishful thinking, not faith, but faith based on understanding. Understanding that your senses show you the world that was, not the world that is becoming. Understanding that your imagination is the true substance of reality, and that what you see in your outer world is simply the shadow cast by your inner states. Your senses are wonderful servants, but they make poor masters. They can only show you what has been, what has already manifested. But your imagination shows you what can be, what is in the process of becoming. When you live from the end, when you experience your desire as fulfilled in your imagination, you are seeing with the eye of faith. You are perceiving a reality that your physical senses cannot yet detect, but which is nonetheless real and in the process of manifesting. This is why silence is so crucial. In the silence of your imagination, you are free from the limitations imposed by your senses. You are free to experience your desire as fulfilled, regardless of what your outer world is showing you. But make no mistake, this is not about denying your current reality or pretending that things are different than they are. It's about understanding that your current reality is the result of past thoughts and beliefs, and that by changing your inner state, you set in motion the forces that will change your outer world. Think of it like this. Your outer world is like a mirror, reflecting back to you your innermost thoughts and beliefs. When you change what's being reflected, your inner state, the reflection must change. It has no choice. This is law. So when your senses tell you that your desire is not yet fulfilled, don't argue with them. Don't try to convince yourself that what you're seeing isn't real. Instead, thank your senses for showing you what has been, and then return to the silence of your imagination where you can experience what will be. This is the true meaning of faith. It's not about believing despite evidence to the contrary. It's about knowing that the evidence of your imagination is more real, more substantial than anything your physical senses can show you. Now let's talk about something that many of you may be struggling with, the concept of time in relation to your manifestations. When I say be silent, anything that you wish will happen, many of you might be wondering, but when will it happen? How long do I have to wait? My dear friends, these questions, while natural, come from a misunderstanding of the nature of time and manifestation. You see, in the realm of imagination, there is no time. There is only the eternal now. When you truly live from the end, when you fully embody the state of your desire fulfilled, you're not waiting for anything to happen. It has already happened in the only place it ever could happen, in your consciousness. The appearance of your desire in your outer world is not the manifestation. It's merely the shadow, the outer reflection of what has already occurred within you. The true manifestation, the real creation, happens the moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and believe in its reality. From this perspective, there is no waiting. There is only being. Being the person who already has what you desire. Living from that state of consciousness. Allowing your outer world to catch up with your inner knowing. This is why patience is so important in this process. Not the kind of patience that comes from gritting your teeth and enduring until something happens, but the patience that comes from absolute knowing. The kind of patience you have when you've planted a seed. You don't stand over it, demanding that it grow faster. You trust in the natural process of growth, knowing that in its own perfect timing, the seed will sprout and grow into a magnificent plant. Your desires are like that seed. Once planted in the fertile soil of your imagination and nurtured with the feeling of their fulfillment, they will manifest in your outer world in their own perfect timing. Your job is not to make them grow faster, but to maintain the state of consciousness of already having them. This brings us to another important point, the concept of revision. Sometimes, despite our best efforts to live from the end, we find ourselves slipping back into old patterns of thinking and being. We might have moments of doubt, or we might react to our current circumstances in ways that contradict our desired state. When this happens, it's crucial not to berate yourself or to see it as a failure. Instead, use the power of revision. At the end of each day, review the events of your day in your imagination. If there were any moments where you reacted from a state of lack or limitation, revise them. See yourself responding from the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel how you would have felt, thought how you would have thought, if your desire was already manifest. This practice of revision serves two purposes. First, it reinforces your desired state of consciousness, helping you to more consistently live from the instinct. Second, it literally rewrites your subconscious memories. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. By revising your day in your imagination, you're literally changing your past, and in doing so, changing the trajectory of future. Now, I want to address something that many of you may be concerned about. You might be thinking, but Neville, isn't this selfish? Shouldn't I be focusing on helping others rather than manifesting my own desires? My dear friends, this is a common misconception, but it couldn't be further from the truth. You see, when you live from the end, when you embody the state of consciousness of your desire fulfilled, you become more, not less. You expand your capacity to give, to love, to serve. Think about it. If your desire is for financial abundance and you successfully manifest that abundance, aren't you in a better position to help others? If your desire is for radiant health and you manifest that health, aren't you better able to care for those around you? If your desire is for a fulfilling relationship and you manifest that relationship, don't you have more love to share with the world? You see, manifesting your desires is not about greed or selfishness. It's about becoming the fullest, most expanded version of yourself. It's about aligning yourself with the abundance of the universe so that you can be a channel for that abundance to flow to others. Moreover, when you master this principle of living from the end, you gain the ability to help others in profound ways. You can teach them this principle, showing them how to transform their own lives. You become a living example of what's possible when one aligns themselves with the creative power of their imagination. So never feel guilty about focusing on your desires. Your desires are not random. They are the universe speaking to you, showing you the direction of your growth and expansion. By fulfilling your desires, you are fulfilling your purpose, becoming more of who you truly are. And in doing so, you naturally uplift those around you. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to commit to living from the end of your most cherished desire. Choose one desire, the one that resonates most deeply with you, and for the next 30 days, live as though it were already fulfilled. Each night before you go to sleep, enter into the silence of your imagination. See yourself in the scenario of your desire fulfilled. Feel the feelings you would feel if your desire were already manifest. Experience it with all your senses. Make it as real and as vivid as you possibly can. Then carry that feeling with you throughout your day. No matter what your outer circumstances show you, maintain the inner knowing that your desire is already yours. Be silent about it. Don't speak of it as something you want or need. Live from the state of already having it. If you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thinking or being, don't berate yourself. Simply revise those moments in your imagination. See yourself responding from the state of a wish fulfilled. At the end of these 30 days, you will be amazed at the changes that have occurred, not just in your outer world, but in your inner world as well. You will have developed a new habit of consciousness, a new way of being in the world. Remember, my dear friends, you are not bound by your past or by your current circumstances. You are bound only by your imagination and your willingness to live from the state of your wish fulfilled. The power to change your life, to manifest your heart's desires, lies within you. It always has, and it always will. In this grand theater of life, we are all actors playing our parts in the divine drama. Yet how many of us truly understand the power we possess to shape our reality? How often do we allow the voice of reason to overshadow the whispers of our imagination? Tonight we shall unravel these mysteries and awaken to the truth that lies dormant within each of us. Let us begin by understanding the nature of belief. Belief, my dear friends, is not merely a mental assent to an idea. It is a state of consciousness, a feeling of certainty that transcends the limitations of our physical senses. When you truly believe something, you do not need external evidence to support it. Your belief becomes the evidence. Now you might wonder, Neville, how can I believe something when all reason and logic seem to deny its possibility? This is where the magic lies. You see, reason is but a servant of your assumptions. It faithfully presents you with evidence that supports your current beliefs. But what if I told you that you have the power to change those beliefs, and in doing so transform your entire world? Consider for a moment the story of the Wright brothers. When they claimed that man could fly, reason denied it. Logic scoffed at the very idea, yet their unwavering belief in the possibility of flight led to one of the greatest technological revolutions in human history. They chose to believe it, even when reason denied it. So how do we cultivate this power of belief? The first step, my friends, is to recognize that your imaginary stability. Your imagination is not some fanciful faculty for daydreaming. It is the creative power of God within you. When you imagine, you are literally shaping the substance of reality. To believe it when reason denies, you must learn to live from the end. This means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled here and now, regardless of what your physical senses tell you. If you desire financial abundance, you must feel the relief, the security, the joy that comes with having plenty, even if your bank account says otherwise. If you long for perfect health, you must embody the vitality, the energy, the wholeness of a perfectly healthy being, even if your body currently shows symptoms of illness. This practice of living from the end is not about denying your current reality. It's about choosing which reality you wish to experience. You see, every possible version of you already exists in the infinite sea of consciousness. By assuming the feeling of your desired state, you are tuning into a view that innovation, making it your present reality. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, this goes against everything I've been taught. How can I possibly believe something that contradicts all evidence? My dear friends, let me remind you that what you call evidence is nothing more than the outpicturing of your past assumptions. Change your assumptions and you change the evidence. To illustrate this point, let me share with you a personal experience. Years ago, I found myself in New York, broken out of work. Reason told me that I should be worried, that I should frantically search for any job I could find. But instead, I chose to live from the end. I imagined myself back in my home in Barbados, successful and financially secure. I felt the joy of being there, the warmth of the sun on my skin, the comfort of my own bed. I lived in this state day and night, despite all contrary evidence. Within a week, I received a letter from my brother inviting me back to Barbados and offering me a well-paying job. Reason would say this was mere coincidence, but I know it to be the natural outcome of living from the end, of believing it when reason denied it. You see, my friends, the world is not outside of you. The world is your consciousness pushed out. Everything you perceive is a reflection of your own mental states. When you change your mental state, when you dare to believe in the face of contrary evidence, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. These forces work tirelessly to bring about the conditions that match your new assumption. But how, you might ask, do we maintain this belief when everything around us seems to contradict it? The key lies in persistence. You must persist in your assumption, regardless of what your senses tell you. This persistence is not a matter of willpower or positive thinking. It is a matter of feeling, of experiencing your desire as an already accomplished fact. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor in a play. In this play, you are portraying a character who has everything you desire in your life. How would this character think? How would they feel? How would they carry themselves? Now, immerse yourself fully in this role. Live from it. Breathe it. Become it. This is what it means to persist in your assumption. As you persist in this new state of consciousness, you may find that doubts arise. Reason may whisper in your ear, telling you that you're being foolish, that you're denying reality. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your desired state. Remember, these doubts are merely the dying gasps of your old concept of self. They have no power unless you give them power. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of belief. Your beliefs, my dear friends, are not just thoughts in your head. They are vibrational frequencies that you emit into the universe. Everything in this universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your beliefs determine the frequency at which you vibrate. And like attracts like. When you truly believe in something, you align yourself with the frequency of that thing, drawing it into your experience. That's why it's crucial to guard your mental diet. The thoughts you entertain, the conversations you engage in, the media you consume, all of these influence your vibrational frequency. To be with it when reason denies it, you must be vigilant about what you allow into your consciousness. Surround yourself with ideas, people, and experiences that support your desired state. Let me share with you another powerful technique for cultivating belief in the face of contrary evidence. It's called the lullaby method. As you lie in bed each night, repeating to yourself a short, concise statement that implies your desire is already fulfilled. For example, if you desire financial abundance, you might repeat, I am so grateful to be financially free. If you long for a loving relationship, your lullaby might be, I am loved and cherished by my perfect partner. As you repeat these words, feel the truth of them. Allow the feeling to permeate every cell of your being. Fall asleep in this state, knowing that your subconscious mind, which knows no limitations, is working throughout the night to align your outer world with this inner truth. Remember, my friends, your subconscious mind does not discriminate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts what you impress upon it as truth and works tirelessly to bring it into manifestation. By falling asleep in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are programming your subconscious to create that reality. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring about our desires? To this, I say, inspired action will naturally flow from your new state of consciousness. When you truly believe in something, when you live from the end, you will find yourself naturally taking the steps that lead to its manifestation. These actions will not feel like hard work or struggle. They will feel natural, even effortless, because they are in alignment with your new state of being. You will find doors opening, opportunities presenting themselves, as if by magic. But remember, this magic is simply the natural result of your alignment with the frequency of your desire. Let us now address another common obstacle to belief, the opinions of others. Often, when we share our dreams and aspirations, we are met with skepticism, even ridicule from those around us. Reason speaking through the mouths of well-meaning friends and family may tell us to be realistic with our feet on the ground. My dear friends, understand this. The opinions of others have no power over you unless you give them power. Their words are simply a reflection of their own beliefs and limitations. You are not bound by their perception of what is possible. You have the power to choose which voices you listen to, which realities you align with. In fact, the doubts and skepticism of others can serve as a powerful catalyst for strengthening your own belief. When faced with opposition, reaffirm your commitment to your desired state. Use that doubt as a springboard to dive even deeper into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For in doing so, you are not only transforming your own reality, but also expanding the realm of possibility for all those around you. Remember the words of the great William Blake, what is now proved was once only imagined. Every great advancement in human history, every innovation, every work of art, began as a thought, an idea that reason initially denied. The inventors, the artists, the visionaries of our world are those who dared to believe it when reason did not. You, my dear listeners, are no different from these great minds. You possess the same creative power, the same ability to shape reality through your imagination. The only difference lies in your willingness to use this power, to believe in the face of all contrary evidence. Now let us explore another powerful tool for cultivating belief, the art of revision. Each night before you sleep, take a few moments to review the events of your day. But do not review them as they occurred. Instead, revise them. See them playing out exactly as you would have wished them to be. If you had a challenging interaction with someone, replay that scene in your mind's eye, but this time see it unfolding harmoniously. If you faced a setback in your goals, revise it to a stepping stone towards success. Whatever circumstances you wish to change them first in your imagination. This practice of revision serves two powerful purposes. First, it impresses upon your subconscious mind new patterns of experience, which it then works to manifest in your outer world. Second, it strengthens your ability to choose your mental states, to believe in your desired reality regardless of current circumstances. As you consistently practice revision, you will find that your outer world begins to conform more and more to your revised inner experiences. You are literally rewriting your past, and in doing so, reshaping your present and future. Now, my friends, I want to address a question that often arises when discussing these principles. Many ask, but Neville, isn't this just a form of self-deception? Aren't we fooling ourselves by believing something that isn't true? To this I say, truth is not something external to you. Truth is not determined by your current circumstances or by the opinions of others. Truth is what you choose to as real in your imagination. When you accept something is true in your imagination, when you live from that state with unwavering faith, it must become true in the outer world. This is the law of your being. Consider for a moment the placebo effect. Medical science has long recognized that patients often experience real physiological changes simply because they believe they are receiving effective treatment. Their belief, their assumption of health, creates actual healing in their bodies. Is this self-deception, or is it a demonstration of the incredible power of belief to shape our reality? You see, my dear friends, what you call reality is far more malleable than you have been led to believe. It is not a fixed, external thing, but a fluid reflection of your own consciousness. When you truly grasp this truth, when you begin to live from it, you will find that nothing is impossible to you. But believing it when reason denies it requires courage. It requires a willingness to step out of your comfort zone, to challenge your long-held assumptions about what is possible. It requires faith, not blind faith, but faith born of understanding the true nature of reality and your place within it. This faith is not something you need to acquire. It is already within you. It is your natural state. The doubt, the skepticism, the belief in limitations, these are the acquired conditions. They are the result of your education, your upbringing, your past experiences. But they are not you. They are not the truth of your being. To reclaim your natural state of faith, of limited belief, you must be willing to question everything you think you know. You must be willing to entertain possibilities that your rational mind may initially reject. For it is in this space of openness, of willingness to believe, that miracles occur. Imagine for a moment that you are a prisoner in a cell. For years you have lived within the confines of this cell, believing it to be the extent of your world. Then one day someone tells you that the door has always been unlocked. Would you immediately rush to open it? Or would you hesitate, held back by your long-held belief in your imprisonment? This, my friends, is the situation many of us find ourselves in. We are prisoners of our own limiting beliefs, held captive by our acceptance of what reason tells us is possible. But the door has always been unlocked. The power to step into a new reality, a reality aligned with our deepest desires, has always been within us. To believe it when reason denies it is to reach for that door handle. It is to take that step into the unknown, fueled by the certainty that what you have imagined must come to pass. It is to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, even when all external evidence seems to contradict it. As you practice this, As you cultivate the art of believing, you will begin to notice changes in your outer world. These changes may be subtle at first. A shift in someone's attitude towards you, an unexpected opportunity, a solution to a problem that had seemed insurmountable. Acknowledge these changes, no matter how small, with gratitude, for they are confirmation that your new assumption is taking root, that your beliefs reshaping your reality. And as you notice these changes, let them fuel your faith. Let them strengthen your conviction that what you have imagined must come to pass. For this is the law of your being. What you believe and feel as true must objectify itself in your world. Now, my dear friends, as we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to emphasize a crucial point. The practice of believing when reason denies, it is not a one-time event. It is not a technique to be used only when you desire something specific. It is a way of life. It is a constant choosing of which states of consciousness you wish to occupy. Every moment of every day you are faced with a choice. Will you accept the limitations that reason and your senses present to you? Or will you choose to live from the state of your filled desires? Will you allow your past to dictate your future? Or will you claim your power as a creative being, shaping your reality through the power of your imagination? The choice is always yours, and it is a choice you must make moment by moment, day by day. For in every moment, you are either strengthening your belief in limitation or expanding into the infinite possibilities that are your birthright. As you go forth from this place, carrying this knowledge with you, I urge you to be bold in your imagining. Dare to believe in the seemingly impossible. Dare to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, especially when reason is possibility. For you are not bound by reason. You are not limited by your current circumstances. You are a divine being possessing within you the very power that creates worlds. Your imagination is God in action. When you imagine and believe, you are fulfilling your highest purpose as a co-creator with the divine. So believe, my friends. Believe with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your being. Believe in the face of all contrary evidence. Believe when reason screams its denial. Believe and watch in awe as your world transforms to match your belief. For in the end, it is not reason that shapes our lives. It is our beliefs, our assumptions, our chosen states of consciousness. Choose wisely, choose lovingly, and above all, choose to believe in the boundless possibilities that await you. As we conclude, I invite you to take a moment now to feel the truth of your desired state. Close your eyes if you wish, and allow yourself to sink deeply into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the love that accompanies this state. Carry this feeling with you as you leave this place. Let it inform your every interaction, your every decision. For in doing so, you are living as the person you desire to be, and your outer world must conform to this inner truth. Go forth, my friends, in the knowledge that you are divine, you are powerful beyond measure, that you have within you the ability to reshape your entire world. Use this power wisely, use it lovingly, and watch in awe as your life transforms into a living testament of the boundless possibilities that await those who dare to believe, even when reason denies it. Thank you, and may your imagination guide you to the fulfillment of your deepest desires. Remember to believe is the key, not the other way around. Believe it, life from it, and it must be. That is the law. That is a promise. That is the truth of your being. Embrace it, embody it, and watch your world transform before your very eyes.